Hey, what's going on? My name's Kevin, and in this video, you're going to learn 5 tips on how to get over your first love. Now, as you probably already know, getting over a breakup is really hard. But getting over your first love is by far the hardest. And that's because it's not just any old breakup, it's a breakup with the first person who really showed you what it means to love. You know, when you guys first met, there was that strong connection. You know, you guys fell madly in love. You spent all your time together, and you might have even planned your future with one another. And this is all perfectly normal and actually quite typical of people who fell in love for the first time. And another common attribute of first love is actually highlighted by a really great quote by a guy named Benjamin Disraeli. And it goes like this: "The magic of first love is our ignorance that it can never end." So now that it ended, it kind of just throws you for a spin, you know, because you were so set on this being the one, on this being it, that when it collapses, you know, you're devastated. It's like your entire reality just shattered, and everything you thought was going to happen, everything you envisioned is just no longer going to be. And it's really hard. And it's going to be hard no matter what I say in this video. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share 5 tips that will really help you. And I promise that if you follow them, they'll not only help you get over your ex, but they're going to help you move on with your life and actually open you up to falling in love again, even stronger and harder, and even richer and more passionately. Because that's what happened to me and for all the people that, you know, I've worked with and talked to. So here's 5 tips. I'm going to just list them off. Number 1, don't try to get your ex back. I know there's this really strong urge to like fight day and night to try to get them back. You know, you call them and text them over and over again. You try to figure out their reason for leaving. You try to convince them that things can change and this and that, and you just have to let it go. Accept that it's over and accept that it's done, you know, because as long as you hold on to any hope of getting back together, you're not going to be able to move on. You can think of it sort of like an anchor. So if you like throw this anchor and it's latched on to this relationship, you have no room to move on because you're literally anchored to the past. And you have to cut that anchor and let go in order to move on. And I know this all makes sense logically, but emotionally, it seems really hard because that simple act of cutting that anchor is not that easy because you love them. And you probably will still love them, you know, several months from now, maybe even a year from now, because it was like the first time you felt something that strong. But you have to realize that love and just all those strong feelings are not enough to make a relationship work. It also takes certain skills and abilities, you know, certain communication, the ability to work through your issues, to compromise, and a whole lot of things that I'm not going to get into. But the point is, there's a reason it ended, and you guys broke up for a variety of reasons, and those reasons are not going to become clear to you if you still hold on to the illusion that you guys can work out, if you keep in touch and all that. You have to cut contact in order to kind of distance yourself from the situation and let those reasons surface, because once you do, you're going to be able to learn from it, and you're going to get a lot more clarity about why it ended, and you're going to stop driving yourself nuts about, you know, why did they break up with me? What happened? What's going on? You know, you have to trust that as you take time apart, the reasons will become clear. So, number 2 is actually along the lines of number 1, but it's just kind of like an extra step, which is cut off all communication with your ex. You know, probably one of the most common rules on how to get over a breakup is the no contact rule. And that's for a reason. And I've mentioned all the reasons for this in the last tip. It's just you need to take time apart because you got to think of it like a wound. That's what the breakup is. And any contact you have with your ex is like you rubbing salt in the wound. You're making it more painful because the wound can't heal unless you let it heal. And the only way you can let it heal is by not touching it and by not reopening it. So cut all contact. I know it's going to be really hard because it's really hard after every breakup, but it's especially hard with your first love because you probably got so close to them that they're literally the closest person in your life. You relied on them for emotional support, for comfort. You probably lost touch with a lot of your friends to spend more time with your ex, and now it's like you don't have that same social support without them. And it can be really hard to imagine not talking to them because they were kind of everything to you, you know? But you have to let that go because you need to rebuild your life and you need to find that elsewhere, both within yourself and within the other people in your life. So, the third tip is that don't assume that you're never going to fall in love again. And this is a really common thing that a lot of people feel after their first really bad breakup because those feelings were so intense and so passionate and so new that it seems like out of this world or surreal. And it's really hard to imagine that you'll ever feel like that ever again for anybody else. But you have to realize that you will. You might not know that now because you have no frame of reference of any other relationships or any other relationships that you were strongly in love with. So it feels like this was the one, this was super special, and I'm not saying that it's not. It's just there's a really common trap that we fall into and make ourselves go nuts by thinking that we'll never find it, you know? And it's perfectly normal to feel, but, you know, after you have several relationships, you actually look back on them with a whole new perspective. You know, after every relationship I had, it's always been that much deeper, richer, and stronger. And, you know, I didn't think I'd be able to find something like that because it always feels like what I had in the present is the deepest, the strongest, the richest. But as you grow and as you mature, the strength of the love that you're capable of having, it goes through the roof. And that actually leads to the fourth tip, which is focus on becoming a better person. And I was just mentioning this in the last tip, which is that the more you grow and develop, the better your relationships will be, and the better just your life in general is going to be. You know, really make an effort to get something out of this, you know? Like you're in pain already. You're experiencing the loss. You might as well get something out of it, you know, learn a lesson, gain some more self-awareness about yourself, how you behave in relationships, certain patterns that you have, certain issues that you tend to create, and really observe this because, you know, you may think that your ex is the problem or point your finger at them, but it's really important to turn inwards and take a look at yourself and see how you may have contributed to the problems. Is there anything that you did that may have pushed them away or created too much stress in the relationship or, you know, kind of caused a lot of the drama or problems or fights or arguments? Because, you know, you may find someone else and it may be the perfect person, but if you haven't changed since then and if you haven't learned and kind of grown, then you're just going to recreate the same issues in the future relationship and you're going to sabotage it. And then you're going to be right back at square one, feeling just as heartbroken and devastated as you feel right now. So turn inwards, look at yourself, grow, and become a better person. And the fifth tip is actually a really important one, and that is to not be afraid to love again. You have to remember that just because your first relationship didn't work doesn't mean that it's never gonna work, you know? every person you meet is different, and you're going to love them differently, for better or for worse. It's just how things happen. You know, when you meet someone new, you guys co-create something new together. And the way that your relationship dynamic is going to play out with the next person you meet is going to be totally different than this one. I mean, hopefully, assuming you learn and you grow and you do all the other things I mentioned. Otherwise, you're just going to recreate the same dynamic, bring all the same issues, and recreate the same problems. But assuming you learn and grow, it's going to be something completely new and different, and you might just love it a lot more. You know, personally, I know that every single person I've loved, I love them that much deeper and stronger, and it's just been a really amazing thing to experience. So I recommend that you don't just kind of close off from loving again, and that's a really normal thing to do. You know, if that's how you're feeling right now, if you're kind of just like, screw guys, they're assholes or they're jerks, or like screw girls, they're heartless bitches, and all this stuff. I mean, I get it, okay? Like, when you're hurt, that's the easy route to take, you know? You're just trying to protect yourself. You're in survival mode. But what you don't realize is that what you're actually doing to protect yourself is actually hurting you. There's a really great saying that I once heard, is that we build up walls to protect ourselves, to keep the bad guys out. But by building up these walls, we actually prevent the good guys from getting in. So don't build up these walls out of fear or because you're afraid of getting hurt. Okay? Remember that to love is to risk. And yes, you know, you might get hurt. Yes, bad things might happen to you. But the reward has to be worth the risk. And in order to overcome this kind of natural feeling to avoid loving again, you have to focus on what that reward is for you. What makes you want to fall in love? What do you get out of it? What about it excites you and kind of moves you and touches you? You know, what is it about falling in love with your ex that you absolutely loved and adored? You know, what makes loving worth the risk for you, essentially? Leave me a comment. Let me know. You know, I'd love to hear. What makes love worth the risk for me is that I just really love intimacy. I love getting to know people on a really deep level and knowing more about them, kind of what makes them tick, what makes them, what moves them, and to also see how they can move me, what we have in common, and just creating this just mutual experience of like deep connection. I thrive off that. That special connection is just, I love it. So that's what makes the risk worthwhile to me. I know that special connection may not last forever. It may not be there. It may hurt me in the end, but my ability to experience that special connection deepens more and more with every person that I'm able to share that with. And regardless of how long it lasts, it's just an amazing feeling. So leave me a comment below. Let me know, what is it about falling in love that makes the risk worth it to you? And if you like this video, make sure you hit that the like button below here too. And if you're still struggling to get over your ex and you want to learn a proven step-by-step formula for how to get over a breakup, then click the link in the description box underneath this video. And you'll actually get a free video on my website that reveals the secret to getting over a breakup. So thank you for watching. I really hope this video has been helpful to you. And check out that video below. Check out the other videos on my channel. Leave a comment. Show some love, man. That's all I'm saying. Or girl, whatever. Have a good day.